Thanks for tuning in, where I overthink every spread, mispronounce half the roster, and swear my picks are lock city. Go get yourself a drink and enjoy the show, because this is the smartest idiot you know. Welcome back, everybody. Thanks for tuning in for another episode. We are going into week 11. Week 11. You might have missed me on Tuesday, or you may not have missed me, but I didn't do an episode on Tuesday. It's the second recap in a row I didn't do, but I'll do a quick little recap now. Week 10 was not a great week. Neither was week 9. Week 9, we went 6-8. Week 10, we went 7-7. I'm sitting at 54% right now. 54.36% of picking every single game so far in the NFL. It's been 149 games so far. I'm 81-68, which makes me up about 6 units for the year. That's not bad. Actually, it's pretty piss poor, but you're up. That's the big thing, is you're up. I mean, week 9, week 10, there were some bogus games in there. I mean, I had some games that, actually, I'll tell you about them. You know, it was, which one was it? It was Indianapolis, 6.5, and they won by, how much did they win by? They won by, in overtime, they won by 6. So I missed that by half a point. I had countless that missed by half a point. It was Chicago. They won by 4. Spread was 4.5. And who saw Miami coming out and just obliterating Buffalo? Now, I admit Buffalo, I did say I had reservations with Buffalo. If James Cook was playing, then I'd probably take Buffalo. And Buffalo's a good talking point here. What the hell is wrong with Buffalo? I think Brian Daboll got fired from the Giants. Should Brian Daboll go back to Buffalo and be an offensive coordinator there? I feel like Daboll, that's what he's good at, is being an offensive coordinator. You know, and these first-year quarterbacks, they're not first-year quarterbacks. These round 1 quarterbacks that have been happening, a lot of these round 1 quarterbacks have had coaches fired. That's an alarming trend in the NFL. Makes you not want to take a quarterback in the first round, knowing that year 2 you could get sacked. Now, Brian Daboll, did he deserve to get sacked? I personally think so. I do think so. I do not think he was a great head coach. I think it's in there. I think he potentially could be, if he learns from this stint with the Giants. And sometimes coaches need a couple stints in order to learn. I think that he has a great offensive mind, which makes him a great coordinator. But from a coaching standpoint, I just don't think he can put all the pieces together. I mean, he obviously didn't do it at the Giants. You know, mistake number 1 was going after Russell Wilson. I mean, there's a lot that actually happened. And one could say, well, injuries plagued his year. And so, you know, what would happen if he had a fully healthy roster? And my answer to that would be it's the same result. I mean, it's not like he won a lot of games with neighbors anyways. And they ended up getting rid of Danny Dimes. And QB is not the issue. I think it's safe to say QB was not the issue in New York. Talent, I don't think, was an issue either. Yes, they should have kept Saquon Barkley, but they made a right decision to get rid of Brian Daboll. A bigger question is, should they got rid of the GM? I don't know. He did make some good moves. I think his real blunder in my opinion, is not keeping Saquon Barkley, not being able to keep him in the fold. It's not like you would have missed out on a quarterback that year unless you had went for Daniels, who went to a rival in your own division. Unless he was able to somehow get Daniels, I do think the GM there, I think he should have retained his job. I'm okay with that. Although I do think a better GM is out there. But firing Brian that was a good decision. That was a good decision. And I'm sure we're going to start hearing reports about how he's not really a player's coach, how he probably players didn't like him. He was hard to play for. But as an offensive coordinator, he should go back to Buffalo and get Buffalo back on track, because the shit we're seeing on the field from Buffalo is disgusting. It makes me want to vomit. I mean, how in the world do you lose 30-13 to Miami Dolphins? I'm just going to put it right there. You have a defense. Buffalo, you have a defense. You have top-ranked offense. And you're going to come in and let a bottom feeder team, even though it is in the division, come through and just manhandle you like that. 30-13. Buffalo didn't score a single point until the fourth quarter. I can't back Buffalo with how they're playing. I mean, it's so unpredictable. It makes me just as frustrated watching them as it does the Dallas Cowboys. It's just them. There's a few teams in here. Denver, watching Denver play is excruciating. Watching Buffalo play is excruciating, and watching Dallas play is just as bad. I think those are the three teams that's just really horrible to watch play. I think all the other teams, even with the injuries, Philly sometimes maybe if they can't get the passing game going. But those three teams, it's just turn the channel off. I don't want to watch it. I'll just get the box score. But we had some good games though. We had some good games. The Ravens versus the Vikings. The Vikings came back. Well, the Vikings actually didn't come back, but they put up a really good game against the Ravens. The Ravens won 27-19. The Browns versus the Jets. Oh, man. I had the Browns. Lost that one. But the Browns lost by 7. And I don't know what needs to happen over in Cleveland. Is it too late to suck it up and put Sanders out there to see what he will do? Or is the faith or does everybody really have faith in Gabriel that Gabriel's going to be able to win some games here? It's against the Jets. The Jets, they put up 27 points against Cleveland, and Cleveland's supposed to have a really good defense, and they do. They do. They do allow points. They allow points. They allow 23 points a game. But the Jets are not good, and they hung 27 on them. I think Patriots and Tampa Bay was a good game, and I think we knew that was going to be a great game going in. New England wasn't favored, which I think that's really a slight on New England there. They won by 5. But New England scraped away with 1 point win the week before against Atlanta. I think the Saints versus the Panthers, that was an interesting game. The Saints came out, held Carolina scoreless for 3 quarters, the latter 3, and they put up 17 on Carolina with their rookie quarterback. That's not bad for the Saints. The second win of the year. Texans and Jaguars, that was not how I expected it to be. I did not expect it to be a 36-29 game with Texans on top. They moved to 4-5. Jaguars go down to 5-4. They did that with a backup quarterback too, in Mills. I had no faith in Mills, none whatsoever, and I got burnt with that one. The afternoon games went chalk for me. The Seahawks and the Lions, same score, 44-22, right? The Lions manhandled the Commanders. Seahawks manhandled the Cardinals. Are the Seahawks the best team in the league? I'm starting to think so. I think this week's going to be a test for them, and we're going to get into that game. But I think this week could be a test for them. But man, they are good. They are good. They lost 2 games, but the Seahawks, they are good. You had the Rams versus the 49ers, which the Rams are a good team as well. So, the Rams, they went in and they took care of business versus a depleted San Francisco team. That San Francisco has been doing exceptional at 6-4 so far this season. They faltered as of late in these last few games due to injuries. I think injuries really are starting to catch up to them as the talent pool in the league starts coming through San Francisco. And then you had the final game of the week, which is the Chargers versus the Steelers. Chargers came out on top, 25-10. That was a good win for the Chargers, 100%. They were able to go in. There was a little thought that Pittsburgh might come in and take care of it, but it was a 3-point spread. A lot of people thought it was going to be closer than it was. They won by 15. Where was Aaron Rodgers? What happened to Aaron Rodgers in that game? And it was in prime time. Chargers are on a roll. I think they've won 3 in a row. So yeah, that's a little recap of what happened in Week 10. It's not a huge recap, but we'd spend a few minutes on it and kind of go over it. Actually, the last game was Philly and Green Bay. And I can't believe I missed this game of being the last game. But the one thing I want to say about this is Philadelphia and Green Bay, it was horrible to watch in the first half. It was 0-0. The first half ended 0-0. The game ended 10-7 with a 64-yard attempt to tie it. What is going on in Green Bay? What is going on in Green Bay? I understand they're 5-3-1. I personally think Green Bay should be a lot better than 5-3-1. And just watching that game just makes it hard. And I had Philly in that game, but it just makes it hard to back Green Bay in any future weeks, regardless of the opponent. I don't understand. I don't understand why they're playing so bad. They're not playing up to their potential, even though they made that trade for Micah Parsons. It's just not fun to watch. That game was not a fun Monday night game. I hope you had something else to watch. I hope you didn't watch the whole thing like I did, because it was a snooze fest. But we're going into Week 11 here, and Thursday night's game is the Jets versus New England. And I tell you what, New England versus the Jets the spread is 13. It was lower earlier in the week, and it has crept up. But, what can you expect from the Jets here? This is obviously an AFC East versus AFC East game. New England's 8-2, leading the pack, and Jets are 2-7. Statistically speaking, New England should have their way with the Jets, but we all know it doesn't always happen that way. But do they cover 2 touchdowns? I think they do. I think that the Jets will not cover. I think New England will win by 14 points. I think New England will be focused in this game. I don't think they're going to be looking ahead to the next schedule. The Jets, they have more to lose. But I think that the lull of the win against the Browns, they might feel a little overconfident. And I think that New England can come in, and I think they'll take care of business. They tend to do on the weaker teams, but this is the only thing that scares me is this is a divisional game. And if they control the ball like New England used to do in the past, I know it's a different coaching staff, then it could be low scoring. And when it's low scoring, it's hard to win by 14 unless the other team just doesn't score. But a lot of these games, we've seen a lot of low games here. A lot of low games in this spot. But I got New England. Give me 13 for New England. And moving on to the next one of Washington versus Miami. This right here is a shit fest. This will be a game that, you got two not good teams right now. Miami is not good, even though they beat Buffalo 30-13. But Buffalo, Miami, they play in the same conference as a divisional game. Washington is hurt. Washington's really hurting. And their play is reflecting that. And as the spread is 2.5. So I think Vegas thinks that this game is going to be a crap game as well, but I don't think Miami's going to come out and blow them out. I think Washington could win still, even with the backup Mariota and injuries. But the way Miami's kind of been playing lately, they've been picking it up. The momentum is on Miami's side. Give me 2.5 for Miami. I'm going to take Miami. I don't like him. I don't like it. But I'll pick Miami. And we got another divisional game of Atlanta versus Carolina. I'm taking Atlanta. It's 3.5. Give me Atlanta. Hopefully Atlanta comes through here. Anytime I back Atlanta, they say, you know what? Screw him. We're going to lose. And it sucks. But it seems every time I've backed Atlanta, they've lost. But they're going up against Carolina. Carolina's shown some flashes this year. They have shown that they can play football. They can play good football for 4 quarters and win a game. I just don't think it's going to happen against Atlanta. I think that defense is going to be able to do something here. I think Atlanta, it's a low enough spread. I think Atlanta can cover. So give me 3.5 here for Atlanta. And moving on to Tampa Bay versus Buffalo. Here we are. I just said, I can't back Buffalo. Buffalo's favored by 5.5 here, and I'm going to stick with what I said. I'm going with Tampa Bay. I don't even need to look at the stats. I don't need to look at the injury reports. What I need is I need Tampa Bay to come in, even without Godwin, even without Bucky, to come in and just rip Buffalo a new one. Let's get some turmoil going in Buffalo. Let's see Buffalo get this slide going on. I like Baker over what's happening in Buffalo. And when when Tampa Bay played last week against New England, Tampa Bay did what Tampa Bay does. They stay into the games. And, you can't do this when you're looking at games, but you look at what New Orleans did against Buffalo, Miami did against Buffalo, and you look at Buffalo's losses. Buffalo is 6-3. They only have 3 losses, and I'm harping on Buffalo as if they're this horrible team and not going to make the playoffs. They probably are going to make the playoffs unless they go on a losing streak. But Buffalo just seems to not be a good team this year. Watching them, they just do not do what you expect them to do. You come out and you lose to Miami the way that you did. You let teams hang around the way that they do. They're not running the ball like they should. Well, they are. I say that, and they're number 1 in rushing yards per game at 153, and number 2 at rushing percentage per game. But I swear, there's times when they should be running the ball and they're not. And I know that the stats contradict what I just said, but watching the game, when you watch the game and you're like, if you ran the ball, you probably would have had success there. And not, I'll digress. Talking about Buffalo, but I'm going to take Tampa Bay. If I get burned, I get burned. It's okay. What it is, it's just a percentage, right? I'm trying to get my percentage as high as possible in these picks, but I'm taking Tampa Bay because I have faith in Tampa Bay. I think Tampa Bay structurally and foundationally is better than Buffalo right now. I think the willpower is better. I think the coaching right now is better in Tampa Bay. So I'm sticking with Tampa Bay at plus 5.5. We have Houston versus Tennessee. I'm just rip the Band-Aid off. I'm going to take Houston minus 6.5. I don't care who is actually playing here, whether it's Mills or Stroud. I just think that Tennessee is just not a great team. They're 1-8. They have one win. Houston, not a great team either. They're 4-5. However, they've picked it up the last couple games. They really have picked it up the last couple games. This is also another divisional game. Houston's got some pieces that are stepping up, and they're moving up, and they can rely on their defense. They have a really, really good defense. Now, are they aggressive? Yes. If they're playing your team, do you like how aggressive they are? No. But they are an aggressive bunch. And I'll take Houston by a touchdown against Tennessee. We have Chicago at Minnesota. This is the second time they're playing this year. This is another divisional game. This is a week of divisional games, it seems like. But Chicago versus Minnesota, 2.5 points. Minnesota's favored. And I'm going with Chicago. I think Chicago's got a good chance here to knock Minnesota off. It'll be a huge loss for Minnesota if they lose here. They'll go to 4-6. Chicago will go to 7-3. And I think that gap is going to be pretty big with the tie at Green Bay. Green Bay's sitting at third, and we're about to get in the Green Bay game in a second. But Chicago needs the win here. Minnesota needs the win even more, though. Which they could have the momentum going in, but honestly, Chicago has momentum going in. They both have a real need here to win. And I like what Chicago has been putting on the field here. I like how their defense has kind of been chugging along. They're not great in statistical standpoints with yards and pass and points and rushing yards per game that they allow. But when you're looking at the offense is doing pretty good. They're number 3 in yards per game of 379, and then number 7 in points per game at 26. And they run the ball. They're number 2 in the league at 147 yards per game. They're middle of the pack in running it per game, like meaning as in how many times they run it. And they lead the league in takeaways. They average 2.2 takeaways a game. And that's going to win you in football. That extra takeaway it could make a huge difference in football. So give me Chicago at plus 2.5 here. I like that they're dogs here. We got Green Bay versus the New York Giants. This is a game that it's going to be interesting. It's going to be very, very interesting. This game is some people are going to be all on Green Bay at -7, but there is a opportunity to take Jameis Winston here. It is Jameis Winston. Maybe Green Bay comes back in the win column on defense because they're playing against Jameis Winston. But are they going to allow a bunch of yards? Is this going to be another 44-40 game for them? Or is it going to be a tie, 40-40 tie? When was the last time Jameis Winston played? Yeah, he's not a horrible quarterback. He makes good decisions. The placement of that ball just ends up in the other team's hands a lot. But he is electric to watch. His charisma reminds me of Cam. And I love that charisma that he carries. And he doesn't have the same exact flair as Cam Newton, but I do like how he kind of holds himself, how he portrays himself. It reminds me a lot of Cam. Green Bay, on the other hand, I have no idea what their identity is. Who are their receivers? Besides Romeo Doubs and Christian Watson. But, when the game's on the line, who are you throwing it to? They lost Kraft. Who are you throwing it to? The running game is non-existent. I just don't know, how I just don't understand the Green Bay Packers right now. But going against the Giants, there will be a surge for the Giants with this coaching change. But I think the injuries are enough over on the Giants side that Green Bay should prevail, and they will prevail. The spread is 7. I'll take Green Bay by 7. But do not discount that coaching change bump in momentum. But like I said before, I don't think that it's going to be enough of a bump with the injuries that the Giants have in order for them to be able to knock off Green Bay. If they knock off Green Bay, it's because Green Bay didn't show up. They did everything in their power to lose. That would be my opinion. We got Cincinnati versus Pittsburgh. I'm going to take Cincinnati. Pittsburgh kind of on a decline real quick after that last game. The Chargers, they humiliated them. They won by 15. The week before that, they took down the number 1 team in the league. And the Colts, I think they won that by 7. But give me Cincinnati to be within 5 here, or within 6. Actually, it's 5.5. Pittsburgh's favored. It's in Pittsburgh, but this is also a divisional game, so I kind of like that part. Give me Cincy here. I think this is the second time I've taken Cincy. Yeah, I'll take Cincy. There's really not much more to say about it. I mean, Cincy and Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh's leading the AFC North. Cincy is 3-6. They're not out of it just yet, but Baltimore's going to end up winning the AFC North. So it's a matter of Cincy going to overtake Pittsburgh or no. We have the Chargers versus the Jacksonville Jaguars. Jacksonville got some horrible news with Hunter being out for the rest of the year. Brian Thomas, I think he is going to be playing. But if not, that's a blow to Jacksonville. Chargers are favored by 3. Remember, Chargers just got back from beating the Pittsburgh Steelers on Sunday night by 15. Chargers their defense is clicking. They're finally throwing the ball. Their rushing stats have kind of declined since their injury to the running back room. But they are second at 7-3 in the AFC West. Denver is 8-2, which don't get me started with Denver. We'll cover them in a little bit because they play Kansas City. But I'm taking Chargers -3. I have no faith in this Jacksonville Jaguars team, even with even with the whole team fully healthy. I thought Trevor Lawrence with the coaching change was going to be a little better, but he's just as bad under Drew Peterson as he is under Liam Cohen. And I don't know. I don't know if Liam is a good coach or not. The jury is still out on that. But I will say this Jacksonville team should be better than what they are. They have the talent. I mean, they were good 2 years ago. 2 years ago, they were good. They were a playoff caliber team. They're sitting at 5-4. They're not even contending for a wild card right now, I don't think. Not at 5-4. And are they going to win enough games? I don't know. Give me Chargers -3. We got Seattle versus the Rams. This is going to be a good game. It's a 3-point spread here, and it should be a 3-point spread because this right here is 2 heavy hitters going against each other. We got a 7-2 versus 7-2. This is a divisional game. I mean, check all the boxes here. Both offenses damn near identical. Both defenses damn near identical. Both these teams are identical in playing style. So who's going to win here? This is going to be a heavyweight game. And I understand we're not talking about the Colts here, but I mean, Seattle's arguably probably the best team in the league right now. I know you can make the case for the Colts. And the Rams have snuck in there. They're 7-2. They honestly could be 8-1 if it wasn't for that special teams play against the Eagles. The Rams are good. But statistically, both these teams damn near identical. I think the only edge that is in this game is for the Rams, and that's giveaways. Seattle does turn the ball over, it seems like, whereas the Rams, they do protect it better. But they're both top 10 in offensive categories, almost all of them except for rushing yards. And on defense, they're all in top 10 except for passing yards per game. Seattle is 19th, whereas the Rams are 18th in passing yards allowed per game. I mean, these stats are, it's crazy how close they are to each other. So that's going to be one that if there's one game this weekend that you decide to watch, besides one that you're a fan of, it better be the Seattle and Rams game. So who do I have? Well, that's hard to say. I really do like the Rams. I like the Rams, but I'm going to go with Seattle. I think Seattle, I mean, do I think it's going to be 3 points? I have no idea. Is it going to be a shootout? That'd be awesome. Both of these teams can play in a shootout. They can throw a shootout game. But I'm going to go with Seattle. I'm going to ride with Sam Darnold here. I like what Mike McDonald has done with that squad there. I like Kubiak as offensive coordinator, and I said it last week. Aiden Dirty. I like him as their defensive coordinator. That defense has gotten really good over there. So give me Seattle +3 versus the Rams. Give me the dog in that game. Hopefully it's a shootout. And enjoy that game because it's going to be a fun one. We have San Francisco versus Arizona. This is another divisional game. And we have 3 more divisional games to go over. But this is a NFC West versus NFC West. I mean, give me San Francisco -3. Arizona sucks. They're 3-6. They beat the Cowboys. You know, Jacoby Brissett. Is he the quarterback this week? Is it Kyler Murray? Are they sticking with Jacoby for the rest of the year? I gave my spiel on Kyler Murray last week, and I stand by it. I don't like Jonathan Gannon as the coach. I do like Kyle Shanahan. He is a good coach. Clay Kubiak as an offensive coordinator. Robert Saleh as a defensive coordinator. That's like a cheat code. Give me San Francisco -3 versus Arizona. It's in Arizona, and I don't care. We got Baltimore versus Cleveland. This is another divisional game, AFC North here. You got to take Baltimore. It's 7.5-point game here. You have to take Baltimore versus Cleveland. Does Cleveland bounce back? You know, I think the only way Cleveland really bounces back here is if they do a QB change. And the only reason why I think that that's a potential bounce back is because a lot of times when people do changes to the squad for key players like coaches and quarterbacks, running backs that are key players, you do a change, people tend to rally and they tend to overexceed what they were expected to do. And so that's the only reason. And 7.5 as a 2 score, right? Yeah. But can Baltimore do it? 100%. I think Baltimore wins this game. They go 5-5. They need to go 5-5. Do they do it by 7.5? I hope so. That's what I have, right? I hope so, because Cleveland sucks. Plain simple. We got Kansas City versus Denver. This is another divisional game. This is the last divisional game that we're going to be talking about, but this is the AFC West versus AFC West. And Denver is a team that I'm just like with Green Bay. What the hell is Denver doing? You know, like what is Bo Nix doing here? Is he the QB of the future or no? Does Sean Payton, does he have a handle on this team? I mean, they're 8-2. I'm saying all of this and they're 8-2. It's like they're the last of the AFC West, and they're not. But they're 8-2. It's just I'm sick of watching Denver go into playing a crappy team and they win by 1 point. And the score is 13-12. You know, or 10-7 like it was this last week. I want to see some offensive production out of Denver. I know they have a good defense, and their defense has failed them. I know they have a good defense. Let's see some offense. Let's see it. I want to see Denver explode because they have the tools, they have the pieces to explode on offense, and I want to see it. I want to see it in a game because I've backed them so many times thinking that their offense is just going to click, and it has not yet. So at a 4-point spread here, we're just going to have to go with Kansas City. I like Kansas City a lot more because when I asked for their offense to explode, it exploded. Rashid Rice came back. They started clicking on all cylinders. Their defense started performing. Travis Kelce started getting the ball. I'm kind of joking about that, but not. I think Kansas City, they might come out here and win by 4, although I think 4 is kind of large against Denver's defense. Maybe it's more like 3 or 2, but I'll take 4 here. I don't trust Denver. I think Denver might make it close, but it's either if it's close, Denver might win here. But if not, Kansas City might win by more than 4. But I'll take Kansas City. It'll be a decent. It might be a decent game to watch. I'm not discounting that because it's a divisional game. But I've really just been struggling to watch Denver because I want to see that offense. And they're 8-2. So, I mean, it's like it. But going into the next game, talking about Philly, it's the same thing. Philly versus Detroit. Now, the last 3 games, Philly has actually thrown the ball. But, I mean, how horrible is it watching Philly play? They're 7-2. They lead the NFC East. They're playing Detroit. Philly's favored here by 2.5, and it's in Philly. Does Detroit come in and take care of business? Do they stop the tush push here? I know that Dan Campbell, that's probably a sticking point with him that he wants to do. He's probably going to want to do that. He's either going to want to do that or he's going to start complaining to the refs beforehand, working on them about the potential of false starts for this tush push. Because when Philly was playing against Green Bay, they were doing their tush push, and there were some false starts. I mean, it's hard to stop a team that can do the tush push for 10 yards, right? You know, like if they can do it 4 plays in a row and get 10 yards, it's boring to watch. It's not good for football, that's for sure. But they win. That's how they win their games, though. It's not good long term because I think in the regular season, it's good regular season. But I think once you get to the playoffs, it changes. That's not going to work in the playoffs. I say that they're the defending champs, right? They're the champs for a reason. But hey, Kelsey's not on that squad no more. So, I mean, Saquon hasn't gotten started yet. He needs to get started for that team to be successful. I think Saquon's going to have some good games. I think Hurts has came out. He's thrown the ball like he's supposed to. But against Green Bay, I don't know what to think about that game. It was just such a god-awful game to watch. It was punt city. And, yeah, it just was not a good game to watch. I got Detroit as the dog here. I think Detroit can come in. I think Detroit's going to win. Detroit's 6-3. Let's bump Philly down to 7-3 here. Detroit, please do it. Please do it. Detroit, 2.5. And the last game of the week is Dallas versus Vegas. And, I got Dallas. The spread is 3.5. I mean, the question is, can you back either of these teams? Dallas was on a bye, so I'm going to take the team that actually has an offense and that was on a bye to beat the Vegas Raiders. There's nothing really to say about Vegas. I mean, they have Brock Bowers, who's probably the best player on their team. They have a decent coach. I mean, I think Vegas's issue is probably Chip Kelly as offensive coordinator, to be frank. I don't think it's necessarily Pete Carroll, although, I mean, there could be a little bit of that. I like Pete Carroll. But Vegas is 2-7. Dallas is 3-5-1. And check that. Because of that tie, they're second in the NFC East. Do they have a shot making the playoffs? No. Not unless they rip off a string of wins. And can you trust Dallas to rip off a string of wins? I don't think so. So give me Dallas favored 3.5 against the Vegas Raiders. And watch my money burn. Just watch it burn. Those are going to be my picks. Let me go through them real quick. Got New England -13, Miami -2.5, Atlanta -3.5, Tampa Bay +5.5. Got Houston -6.5, Chicago +2.5, Green Bay -7, Cincy +5.5, Chargers -3, Seattle +3, San Francisco -3, Baltimore -7.5, Detroit +2.5, Kansas City -4, and Dallas -3.5. And I'm looking back at these, and I don't know if this is a bad omen or not, but I only have 3 home teams. I only have 3 home teams covering. I don't know if that's a bad omen. Yeah, the home teams I have covering are New England, Miami, and Atlanta. All the rest of the games, I have the road teams. Yeah, that kind of makes me feel uneasy. Nah, screw it. That's what I got. So here's the deal. Remember, when you're doing this, do it responsibly. Right? If you're going to put money on these games, do it responsibly. Just because I say what I have doesn't necessarily mean my money's going towards it. Stay away from parlays, okay? Because parlays are going to ruin your bankroll. Trust me. Make sure that you keep these as individual. Just do individual selections here. Don't have to do the full slate either. Pick what you like. I just hope what I'm saying kind of makes sense and you can see where I'm kind of going and what could sway you here and there. You can take bits and pieces of what I'm saying, compare it with somebody else, what they're saying, do your own research, right? But just do it responsibly. Use this for your pick'em, right? This is what my pick'em will be. These are going to be my picks for my pick'em. And yeah, like I said, I mean, I'm sitting at 54%, right? The last 2 weeks haven't been the greatest weeks, but they're not horrendous. I could be sitting at 30%, right? Yeah, but I'm not. I'm at 54%, and hopefully after this week I go up. Because if I do this, if I go get all 15 right, my percentage would go up 4%. So at 58, which I'm not going to. I'm not going to get 15 right. But if I got 10 right and I got 5 wrong, I'd be sitting at 55%. So I think that I got to have a good showing this week, and I think I will. We got some good games. Make sure you watch Seattle versus the Rams, okay? Make sure you play responsibly. And more than anything, just sit back this weekend, watch some football. Let your blood pressure lower and watch some football. Good luck. I'm out.